All right, we're diving straight into a pretty chilling war game today. It's a simulated battle in the South China Sea that could literally be the turning point of a new world war. And just so we're clear, this isn't some sci-fi plot. This is a detailed look at a conflict that military experts are taking very, very seriously. So just imagine this scene. It's 4:20 in the morning, 2025, out on a calm sea. You're deep in the South China Sea, and suddenly alarms just scream to life across an entire U.S. carrier strike group. Sailors are jolted from their bunks as radar screens just explode with dozens of incoming targets, all of them moving at impossible speeds. The fight has begun. In less than 5 minutes, 56 hypersonic and cruise missiles are streaking towards the American ships. Now, hypersonic means they're traveling at over 5 times the speed of sound, and each one is carrying a massive warhead. This is the opening shot, a brutal knockout punch that's designed to cripple the U.S. Navy before it can even throw a punch back. You know, this whole scenario, it feels terrifyingly real, and that's because it's built on a foundation of real-world tensions that are escalating, well, every single day. But how did we even get to a point where a simulation like this is plausible? To really get that, you have to zoom out and look at the bigger picture. Right, so this simulation, it doesn't just happen in a vacuum. It's a direct reflection of a rapidly escalating military competition in the Pacific. We're talking about a place where one little miscalculation over a disputed island, or maybe a too close encounter between warships, could ignite a global conflict. For decades, for as long as most of us can remember, the U.S. Navy has been the king of the oceans, right? Centered on its massive carrier strike groups. But lately, China has been building ships at a historic, almost unprecedented pace, and that has created a powerful and totally new reality at sea. And China's strategy here, it's really multi-layered. It's not just about building more ships. Nope. It's about creating these overlapping zones of control. They're literally turning coral reefs into permanent military bases, developing thousands of missiles specifically designed to keep other navies away from their shores, and even building this huge underwater sensor network to hunt for enemy submarines. So how does the U.S. respond? Well, it strengthens its alliances, and it conducts what it calls freedom of navigation patrols. That's basically sailing warships right through these contested waters to say, hey, this is international territory. What this creates is a constant, high-stakes game of chicken, where just a single wrong move from either side could have absolutely catastrophic consequences. Okay, so with that whole stage set, let's get back to the simulation. How does a modern battle between these two superpowers actually play out? Because it goes way beyond just the raw numbers of ships and planes. It's really a battle of technology. Remember that initial 56 missile barrage? The U.S. fleet survived it because of its incredible layered defenses, with the Aegis system at the center. Think of it like a sophisticated digital shield that can track hundreds of targets at once and coordinate the entire defense. So of the 56 missiles, a staggering 55 were destroyed. That knockout punch, it was absorbed. But defense is only half the story. Up in the air, in the dogfights, China's newer PL-15 missile gives its fighters a critical advantage: range. That extra 20 nautical miles, it means their pilots can fire first. And in aerial combat, that's everything. It means you can potentially take out your opponent before they're even in range to fight back. And the fight, it's not just happening on the sea or in the air. The next conflict would be fought across all these invisible domains at the same time. Just imagine your GPS failing as hackers attack the power grid, while satellites are being jammed or even shot down from space, totally blinding an entire military. This is the new, all-encompassing nature of warfare. So, after all the missiles have flown, the jets have dogfought, and the satellites have been jammed, what's the actual outcome? Well, a big DC think tank, the Center for Strategic and International Studies, ran this exact scenario 25 times just to find out. And the result was pretty much the same every single time. The US and its allies technically win, meaning Taiwan remains unoccupied. But the cost is absolutely devastating. The very definition of victory gets really, really blurry when the price is this high. The projected losses here are just staggering. For the United States, losing 2 aircraft carriers and thousands of personnel would be its greatest military loss since World War II. For China, it's a humiliating military disaster, with its entire amphibious fleet just wiped out. The global balance of power would be fundamentally and violently changed forever. And that's just the battlefield. Beyond that, the global economy would shatter. The flow of everything, from crude oil to the microchips in our phones, it would just grind to a halt. Supply chains would collapse, stock markets would plummet, and a deep worldwide recession would be almost certain. Look, these simulations, they aren't predictions of the future. They're a stark warning. They show us that in a modern great power conflict, victory is so costly, it barely feels like a victory at all. It leaves everyone shattered. Which brings us to a final crucial question. In a war with no true winners, what does it truly take to keep the peace?